pawns, man, in the game, they get capped quick. They be out the game early.
Unless they some smart-ass pawns.
This is not meth.
Hello, welcome to TV Chronicles, the most lighthearted show that you'll find on the internet. This has been, I think I've talked about doing a similar type of this show for 5 years in this community. We always talk movies, we always do movies, we never talk about TV. And there are some big blind spots for me with TV, but there's also stuff that I just have seen that I would love to talk episode by episode. So thank God to a trivia match that happened. We were all on call. I said, "We'll talk about TV together," and then everybody's like, "Let's do that." And we're here to do it. We have decided to pick 3 TV shows. We will go by right now. It's 2 episodes. I have a feeling by next episode we will be at 3 episodes apiece because a lot of us are like itching to keep going on the show, and we're stopping at 2, which is not fun for anybody, I'll be honest, with these shows. So we picked shows that are very, I wouldn't say similar, but similar episode-wise, and also dramas. Best way I can put it. We did Oz. So if you're not okay with very harsh show, how about you just don't watch it? I would suggest not watching it because this is the show that doesn't give a fuck about your feelings at all. Oz, 97, way before. Not fit for 2024, so stay the fuck away from it, please. The Wire. I on the show. I'm the only one on the show. Nazario will be joining us, by the way. Nazario is the other person here. He is not here. Had some family stuff, so he will be back on future episodes. But it's us 5. The Wire. Haven't seen it. I'm the only one on the panel that has not seen it. I'm super excited. Again, I'm probably the one that 2 episodes was not enough. I would like to continue watching. So I'm glad this show is recording so I can go right after this and watch 3, 4, and 5. So awesome. And the final one is Breaking Bad, probably the most popular one of the group. It has the fan. And we had so much fun talking about this show. We've already planned season 2 and season 3 of the show, of future episodes, shows that we want to do. So we have longevity before we recorded the first episode. First up, co-runner of the show, Mike Hanley, Super Chaos. We've joked about Oz for a couple years now.
Oh, yeah.
Now we're talking about the show on screen. Are you excited? And how are you?
I'm so fucking... Ever since I got in this community and started talking about movies and stuff like that, I always wanted to do something with Oz. Be that way. It's never really been, from what I could tell, never really been broken down in a video format from what I could tell on YouTube. No one's really tackled every episode, and there's so many people involved in this show on the first episode, second episode, and on that appear in other shows as well, regardless of what we are watching in other shows as well, this is a perfect show to go over and talk about because a lot of these actors that just started out are now well-known names, as a lot of people in this community will fucking see. It's just so in-depth. The first 2 episodes in general is just so in-depth that it's ripe to break down and talk about.
Yeah. You thought J.K. Simmons was ruthless in Whiplash. You've not seen anything yet. Go check out this and see. Next up, Mark. I brought up The Wire, and I've never seen somebody like pique their interest more. It's like, I'm in. Whatever this is, I will be there. That's your favorite show, right? You've said that on record. Is that correct? The Wire is your favorite?
I would say it's my favorite. It's my favorite drama, 100%. Yeah, you mentioned, hey, you want to just get together and watch The Wire, or watch The Wire, talk about The Wire. Like, yeah, like I want to do that, 100%. It's one of the greatest shows ever. And sitting down and watching the first couple episodes, yeah, this is why I've rewatched this show like probably every year since I've seen it before.
Yeah, and next up, Matt. Matt was also on that call. He's like, "Let's do it," and he's the one that's been planning like future episode seasons. He's like, "Let's talk about this. We need to talk about this. We need to talk about that," which is exciting. Matt, how are you? And I mean, of these three, which one would you say is like your top show?
Yeah, I don't know if that's tough. I mean, I love them all. I mean, the Oz. I mean, I came into that kind of in season 3, and then I had to go to the video store and get the VHS tapes for like the first 2 seasons, so I could catch up.
Nice channel name drop. I like it.
And then I did the binge on The Wire because it was one of those critically acclaimed shows that I missed out. And Breaking Bad, I was there from day one. And it's just these are 3 great shows, and I think it's going to be a blast talking about them with you guys.
Yeah, I really like that I never caught any of these in syndication, because I would have killed myself. I'm gonna just there's not a shot that I would have sat waited. Like I caught Game of Thrones like middle, and those waits were miserable. Like I don't know how many times I watched Game of Thrones like leading up to it multiple times, just waiting for it because I had to get the fix somewhere, even though I knew everything was going to happen. So this is really exciting. Breaking Bad's my show. Like, absolutely love it. I believe Walter White's like the greatest like character arc in history, and we'll talk about that as we go. We're doing a lot on the show. We don't really have every segment picked out. We're just kind of freeball. We're going to talk in depth about every episode. So if you have not seen the show, like thanks for supporting, but get the fuck out and go watch it, and then come back and watch it. It'd be great. It only takes you like 6 hours to watch all 6 episodes that we'll be talking about tonight. So like, no, not a huge watch, especially if you're in the movies. We're ranking episodes at the end of every. Matt's got the kill count for everything because newsflash, a lot of people die in a lot of these shows. We're gonna rank like worst characters. Best character is kind of boring because like I don't know like how many people will hate. Like we even talked about Oz, which is our first show tonight. We kind of all agree on our favorite character from Oz. So that's not fun. We're gonna jump into it. We're just gonna jump into it. We're gonna jump into Oz. I've never had this effect happen on a show. I haven't seen this show in 15 years. It came back to me like I watched it yesterday. This was like it hit something in my brain that just fired, and I was like, it was crazy. Like, oh, that happens in episode 1. That happens in episode what? I think it's a brilliant just a setup for a show. Call Oz, call it Emerald City, just. Emerald City is the most fucked up thing in prison. Like, can we talk about that for a second?
Yeah.
This is general population with life to life and common offenders.
Yeah.
How the fuck do you get away with that shit? That is crazy behavior. They literally put like, oh gosh, Beecher.
Beecher, yeah.
Serving what? He's not serving a ton.
No, he's serving, I think,
4 years?
Yeah, 4 years. I think that's
4 years, and he's in there with convicted, like, multiple serial killers? It's just... he shouldn't hit that person on the bike. We all know that.
There with the guy who ate his mom.
Oh, yeah. Donald Groves, that fucking guy.
So I basically call it, the first episode called The Routine, but basically I call it The Destruction of Dino Orlani. Yeah. The decline of this man that happens in this episode. He goes into it. He goes through it in this episode. I think it has a cool setup of how it basically goes. What's the guy in the wheelchair's name?
Augustus Hill.
Augustus Hill, yeah.
Augustus Hill. Basically, one of the greatest. Like, if you don't, some people don't like the exposition. I get that for some people. I love it. I think he's a great just drop in and tell you exactly what happened and how unique they always have him in this. Like the one of him like spinning around on the thing and just like talking about it and just going through. But how Emerald City set up is got every different race and creed under the one things. The Muslims, the Aryan brother races here, the Italians, like they're all separated and they all have power in different ways. And that's kind of unique of how the situation works. They kind of work together, but like we are entering Oz in a time that is just created up. Like there's an uprising happening. Like you can just feel it. Like if these have gotten along for this long, it is not happening anymore. There is rough waters everywhere, and you can just see that. What were you guys takes away from the first overall episode of, basically Dino? Basically, Dino is a guy that's part of the Italian family in there. He attempts murder, or he kills multiple people, but he ends up killing or attempting to kill our guy, O'Reilly.
Ryan
right?
O'Reilly.
Ryan O'Reilly tries to kill him, and he's coming to Oz.
Yeah.
He's coming to Emerald City, and that's basically not sitting well with him mentally. He's also got the shortest fuse in Emerald City. Anytime somebody winks at him, talks to him, sniffs near him, and he's part of the family with the calmest leader known to man, like he's just like, no, you're not going to do anything. You're fine. Just be calm. Fuck no. Beats the shit out of cops, beats the shit out of the gay guys, beat the shit out of everybody. And it just starts this uprising, which basically shows the fractions in each family, in each group. So I was taken aback, like, what do you guys just talk on it? Do you think, I think this was a smart start to the episode, like how if you're going to start Oz, I don't want to see everybody get checked into Oz and be like, oh, this is this person. They're already established. We are just dropped into Gen Pop with them and trying to world. The wardens or I don't know how that, like wardens and the runner of Emerald City, I guess is how you described it. They're at odds. They don't like each other as much, and then so it's like everybody's just as tense as possible to each other. So do you guys think this is like a perfect start to the Oz, or was it jarring because like you needed more backstory from someone? I'm curious how you guys felt.
I think they did a great job with the whole Dino thing, because it pretty much set him up as like, this is one of the main characters of the show. It set up what you thought was going to be a long-running feud with Ryan O'Reilly and him. He even had some actual character growth with him working with the AIDS patient, and then by the end of the episode, he's burned alive. So I mean, that's showing you that no one's really safe here. Anything could happen at any time, and I thought they did a great job with that.
Yeah, I think the introducing the very first scene of this is Alvarez being stabbed, and then just showing Beecher. We're following Beecher into prison, so we are Beecher as an audience going into prison for the first time with Beecher, and him having to deal with Ortolani as his sponsor, and Ortolani is basically the hardened criminal that's telling him, you're not gonna fucking survive this unless you fucking kill somebody. If they fuck with you, you gotta kill somebody. And I love the line he tells him where he just goes, let me give you some advice. Don't smile. Ever. And then the hardened criminal, the one that you think is going to be one of the most bad, is the one that fucking croaks out of everyone.
Yeah.
So you have Beecher seeing that and going, he already thinks he's fucked out of episode 1, because he just sees the one dude who he thought was going to be a badass just fucking die.
If this guy can't survive, how am I supposed to do it?
Because how I thought it was going to go is the old man was going to die. And I thought, when I first watched the show, I thought Dino was going to take over the family.
Yeah.
Like a Michael Godfather kind of situation, but ends up he's Fredo. He got shot in the fucking boat. He gone. But it's like it's quick. So, Mark, what do you think?
Oh yeah, no, it was interesting. Listen, like I've been like I've told you a couple times already. I started watching the show years ago when I was trying to watch more TV, and I got to the middle of season 4. Like, yeah, I think this is, and going back, it is one of those. I'm remembering why I like season 1 a lot, because like for this exact reason with the Dino thing of like, oh, we're learning who Dino is, and we're kind of following his character, and we think they're kind of setting him up as the de facto lead, and he gets killed he gets killed horribly. Like he gets burned alive, and also like he probably didn't like really feel it. He just knows he's being burned because he was all doped up at the time. Like kind of nuts. And, like
he was also lost his shit on everybody, so they ended up having to fucking subdue his ass, and that's when they take advantage of him, which is crazy. But the thing is, what I think is interesting is they kind of set up why everybody's getting a little tense and everybody's breaking. So they introduced that the tobacco ban is happening in this one. So that they say no tobacco, not now. By the end of the month, these fuckers lose it.
Yeah.
They don't know that they get to smoke 3 more cigarettes or whatever. They beat the fuck out. They just start hitting everybody. It's very, and I like where you put it, Mike. We're very introduced as Beechard. Like we're introduced with Beechard. We walk through the door with Beechard. It's Whitey Dufresne. It is Whitey Dufresne.
Oh yeah, 1,000.
Not made for this prison, and we're about to experience the shitty thing. Then you find out the motherfucker was only in there for 4 years. And then everybody else they enter, life without parole. Life without parole. Every fucking person's life without parole. 4 years. This man's out in 2 on good behavior.
Yeah.
So he kind of introduces, we kind of walk through him. We'll talk about the next moment that kind of happens in the show. He gets into his cell. They go for count. Simon and BC, part of the... I'm trying to be as best I can be. African American Muslim kind of groupish situation. He's going through Beechard's stuff. Beechard's and he's in the cell. He's doing all the stuff, and he sits there, and he's like it is one of the most eerie things because he goes and lays there. There's 2 eerie parts that happen for me for Beechard. He lays down in the bed, and Simon like rubs on him, and he's like, "Oh, don't worry, I'm not gonna fuck you tonight."
Of all the people that you get put in the bunk with on your first day.
So he thinks he's befriending someone. Cue in J.K. Simmons, Schillinger. Schillinger comes to him, talks about a reassignment, like you can get reassigned. It will work like that? Yeah. He gets moved into Schillinger's cell, and then as soon as he's in the bed, he like, oh, look at these tattoos I got. And he's like, oh, that's cool. And he's like, yeah, you got to get you one of those. Oh, no, thank you. He's like, no, I'll brand you tomorrow. And he's like, cattle's what's branded. Yeah. You're my cattle. And your jaw just like, fuck. Like, and the next scene is it, guys? I'm sure. I think it's
it's very, very close.
And he's getting a swastika burned right into his ass. You're just like, all right, I'm in for Oz. We're in for it. This is where we are, and we're going. It does not hold you anything, and that just happens while Dino is losing his shit on everybody. Yeah. So he gets in trouble. He gets approached in the shower. I think that's where the first so they kind of do a perfect job of it because like there's time stamps that show up on the screen. 1 p.m., 3 p.m., like this. Middle of the night. Dino's not sleeping. Dino's losing his mind because Ryan is coming in. Ryan is a guy he tried to kill. He wants it fucking dead. Don't think they can live together. And when Ryan gets there, Ryan's also does not agree that they can live together.
No, he's fucking.
One's got to go, and Ryan's trying to get him. Dino's going to try to kill him, but his his father basically like, no. Like the father of the Italians is like, no, we don't need to do that. He's like, no, I'm gonna fucking kill him. So he goes back and forth. He ends up getting in the shower and attacking one of the African American group's brothers, King's, right? King,
Yeah, King. Yeah, King's brother.
He attacks King's brother.
I mean, Doris.
Which sets, huh?
You mean Doris?
Doris.
Yeah, the Jamaican bobsled team. You know?
Yeah. Yes. He beats him within an inch of his life. They get carried to Gen Pop. He gets angry. They're talking shit about them. There's the setup to kill him. Who's the leader of Emerald City?
McManus.
McManus is kind of McManus is kind of like making shit up as he goes.
Yeah.
I like to think because he's like, oh, maybe this will work, maybe that. We're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, and it's like
he is basically the Beecher of the administration. He thinks everyone can be saved and all this other shit. And Ernie Hudson, as the fucking warden, is just going, dude, get the fuck out of here.
I've been around these people forever. I've been doing this. You just came here with your college ideas.
Well, even the nun was like, you play God too many times. Like, you're messing with some shit that, like, you need to slow down. So he basically has a problem with gay guys. He's very brutal with them, and McManus is like, "You're going to the AIDS ward. Like, you're not getting solitary. You're just going to go work with what you hate." And like, which is not for the way AIDS ward at all. Like, he loses his mind in there. He's rude. He's hitting on the nurse. He's going through all the shit. He ends up killing an AIDS patient. Taking the
mercy killing.
Yeah.
Mercy. It is.
Yeah. The AIDS patient asks him to fucking kill him.
Along with that
right.
The punishment actually kind of worked a little bit. If he had
the guy next to him did not hear the kill him. Just saw him kill him. The next thing you see is about 3-4 cops bursting down, beating the fuck out of Dino. They put him in solitary. They basically lock him up. One of the African American groups gets let in. I'm pretty sure it's again, it hasn't been shown in the show. I don't think who opens the actual door. Because the investigation is still happening while we're watching the show, right?
Yeah, one of the guards.
It's a guard.
One of the guards, but we're thinking, well, it's made to believe it's Ryan O'Reilly has an in with one of the officers. Basically, a family tie outside. He ends up letting the door in. While he's flipping out, he gets sedated, he gets thing. I may sound like the most psychopathic person here, and I mean that. And with Mike on the show, that's saying something. Not seeing him burn alive is a little bit disappointing to me.
Oh yeah,
I'd like to see the flames.
Having the first person view of it is
it's an
compared to what we
shot.
just watched. Yeah. Compared to what we just watched, you're kind of going, why couldn't we fucking see it?
The MATV were like, we'll let you the swats come in the ass, but what we're not going to let you is see somebody burn alive. Like, not at all.
I was just wait. We'll take care of you. Don't worry.
I will say, having Dino be Dino is a bad guy. He's a bad, but they show that interaction between him and Schillinger, and you go, even he is going, fuck this asshole. He's a racist piece of shit. He doesn't want any, because Schillinger goes up to him and goes, thanks for, kicking the shit out of the gay guy. And he going, I don't fucking like you. You're a piece of shit. Get the fuck away from me. Like, you can tell, like, there are bad guys, but then there are the worst fucking guys in this prison, where there's some redeemable qualities of certain people, and then there's just pure fucking evil.
Dino's so in his own head that he doesn't know that the entire cell, the prison, is turning against him.
Yeah.
Officers hate him. The Aryan brothers hate him. The Muslims hate him. Everybody hates him.
I don't
So
think he
said,
cares though. I feel like he's given up at this point because he pretty much already he told his wife to just
Oh yeah, they have
forget
interaction
about
with
me.
his wife and kids. Yeah.
Just don't even come back here.
I mean, that's what I was sort of thinking too. Is like
Yeah.
how much of what Dino's doing is on purpose, to the sense of, what if I just try to fuck over everybody, and eventually somebody's gonna kill me. Like, I don't really care. Like,
I
what
think
happens
he's just
to me.
like tired of the routine,
Yeah.
and that's a lot of the times where he can't sleep at night, and it just has got that clock all the time. Because I mean, at prison, I mean, the routine, you don't have anything to do, you're bored and stuff, and
well,
eventually
McManus also gets caught. McManus gets called in by the nuns. The nun, I can't think of her sister.
Oh my
Sister
god,
Pete.
Sister Pete, yeah,
yeah,
played by Rita Moreno. Which
Yeah.
is fucking.
Everybody here is going to be really good with names. I'm going to be terrible at them.
I got IMDb pulled up on the screen next to me.
The show is a running machine. All right. So with that, she gets asked, he wants a conjugal visit. And she's like, this is the fourth one of the year, and he's like, well, that's more than me and both my ex-wife. And he approves it. He said, has he earned it? Yeah, he's approved it. At that point, he does. There's no issues. Decline happens. He starts doing shit. He goes in. I want you to decline the visit, but I want you to give him a family day behind the glass. So basically, fucks with his psyche even more. Now he can't touch his wife. He can't be with his wife. He can't be around his kids. He can't do anything. It's behind the police. He basically is like, you need to. He has the exchange with her. Was like, you need to act like I'm dead. Like, you need to move on. You need to go. And she's like screaming, you want me to fuck someone else? Like, you want me to be with someone else? And he doesn't. And he like puts his hands up and he walks. Basically, I get it. His symbol, like he's on his way. Like, he can't keep living. One of them's going to be taken out, him or Ryan, and chances are it's going to be him. So that's episode 1. Oh no, that's not episode 1. My apologies. There's another
yeah,
guy.
we're missing somebody.
Somebody is coming to the Gen Pop Emerald City. Name
Kareem
Saeed,
oh,
leader of the Muslim Brotherhood. Awesome performance, just insane. Like, this guy is just. Did he do anything after Oz?
He did like Tears of the Sun with Bruce Willis. He's done a few movies where he's like the side character in every movie. I don't think. Yeah.
This performance
is currently a part of the Chicago verse on NBC.
He's getting a paycheck. He's
Chicago
good.
Fire.
Well, I'm proud of you for living it up too. But he comes in there. He has now he's coming into Emerald City after blowing up a white
church.
A white church. Yeah. Basically, they make it very clear it's a racial line.
Yeah.
So he is entering with a very large Aryan population in Gen Pop. Like, they are fully established. So, and the warden's got his thoughts behind it, and like how he like ends up like letting them in, and how that all is entered. He has already followers that are with him and ready to go. And I think the big scene is where, I think this is all in episode 1, is when he goes to pray. Is that still in episode 1 or episode 2?
That might be in episode 2. I don't remember.
I think that's episode 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk about that in a second. Yeah, but he gets introduced. He has all his groups, and there's tension between. He's part of the Muslim group, but there's tension between him and the other African.
I think they refer to him as the homeboys, the other group.
Yeah.
The homeboys,
and then the Muslim.
I didn't know if that group get me in trouble. Yeah. It's in Oz. If you have a problem with it, send it to www. I don't give a fuck. It's there. I'm saying what's on the show. So, so he gets introduced, and as soon as he is entered into it, he's very calm, subdued. How he talks, how he delivers lines. He's like the most charismatic guy that's entering. He has your full attention as he's in. So we get introduced to basically a member of each group
Yeah.
in the group, and there's a lot more to come that we
Oh,
don't
yeah.
know.
Yeah, 'cause Saeed, he pretty much comes in and tells the warden McManus, like, this is my prison now.
Yeah, he's running this shit.
And you
Yeah.
believe him when you start seeing him with his followers and stuff. So. But
Yeah, like, and he gets a bigger part in episode 2,
Yeah.
which we will discuss. So overall thoughts on episode 1. I thought episode 1 was like a great pilot. Like, I don't know how somebody watches episode 1 and just doesn't click on episode 2.
Mhm.
What I'm always thinking about when I watch a show is like, when that load bar comes up and it's like next episode, like in 6 seconds, like who hits the back arrow out of it? Like, not me. So I think it's interesting. What do you guys overall think?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think it did a great job. It doesn't hold your hand. It pretty much just drops you off in the middle of the story, but it does have some characters to help introduce you to some stuff, and it pretty much just sets up. Nobody's safe. Anything can happen in this crazy place. And I think that Dare messed up by just going around to the high schools telling kids you shouldn't drink and drive when they should just took all the Beecher scenes from this episode and just played that for the kids. Like, this is why you don't drink and drive.
Yeah, I think this is one of the greatest pilots of all time. It fucking just, from the beginning, it just takes you on a fucking wild ride, and it never lets up. And it opens up storylines. It closes storylines. It closes one of the biggest storylines in one episode, and it just sets it up to be chaos. And I can't get enough of it.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely like it. Definitely like where we're starting on. It is good. Like,
We got an Oz hater here, do we?
Listen,
You want the same recipe that Dino got?
No, this
Listen,
is good.
we'll get there. It won't happen yet. I'll just say that. We're starting off good because the characters are really interesting. I really like how we're introduced to the world, especially with somebody we think is going to be a main character and he just gets fucking killed. And also the world is just kind of insane. Like it is definitely parts where like, okay, we're kind of like leaving some of the more realistic elements at the door here. I mean, when you said like, oh, we're putting in lifers and like this guy, like, you know, that's kind of out of there a little bit, but still, like, we're at a point where it's still pretty fun. We're in a really weird situation. We're in a situation where like a bunch of things can happen, so we're not really sure what direction it's going to go with, and we're gonna go with it at this point.
Yeah, so I think it's an absolutely fantastic pilot. Again, I'm fully on board. We'll go right into the episode 2 of this one. I had the title pulled up. What is it called? Visits, Conjugals, and Otherwise. Episode 2 of Oz. Basically, you thought cigarettes were bad. We're gonna take away your conjugal visits. You're not allowed to fuck anymore. So Beecher's now totally screwed. But we'll talk about that in a second too with Beecher. Beecher goes through more shit. Basically, as we last saw Beecher, where he is in the cell getting his ass, branded. He is just laid there, basically sad in his thing. I think it basically starts where he goes and gets started on the attempt to get a conjugal visit with his wife.
Yeah,
I believe that's where it takes. He goes back, and Schillinger basically says, "I didn't give you permission to have sex with your wife. You have to ask me." And makes him proceed to yell, "Can I please fuck my wife?" And screams it. And he's like, "When you ask me like that, how can I ever tell you no?" Which is just crazy. So they end up having a conjugal, but then after that, basically it's announced that the person, I guess the senator, mayor, whatever the person is, wants to take away conjugal visits, which sends an uproar to everybody. They're running to get conjugal visits put in. Versus cigarettes, they didn't just beat the shit out of everybody. They were like, "Oh, now I need to go see the nun. I gotta go get to see the sister so I can get a conjugal visit." So I think that's interesting. Yeah, I think it's a great overall like start. I think this episode, I will just be a minute. I think it's a down tick from as episode one, but I think it is supposed to be a down tick. I don't think you can just keep on that high level the entire time because the thing. We introduce new characters, so we get to thing. I think we spend a lot of time on King, right?
Yeah.
And of his story. I don't give a shit about King, to be honest with you. I don't think King's that great of an actor in this environment. I don't feel for him at all. Like I don't have that like connection to King. Like I feel bad for anything that's really happened for him. But he basically is going through the stuff of like his rectify. Like it's weird because he wants. Side note to the end, he wants to get married. Like that's the whole point of this episode. Basically, he wants to get married. He's in there for killing people on their wedding day, which I thought was just wild irony. He's like, I want to get married. I fuck those two people up. They got married, but I would like to get married. I also did think, thanks, Mike, you ruined every nude scene that's ever in movie history because as soon as boobs pop, I'm like, boobs! Thanks. What were you guys' overall thoughts from episode 2 of Oz? Mark, did you hate this one just as much as you hate the last one? You just hate Oz, you piece of shit.
Well, I thought it was fine. Yeah. Like, I mean, hey, like we got more. Honestly, I think one of my more favorite characters. I like to call him Mayhem. I don't know. Yeah, sure, his name's O'Reilly, but he's always Mayhem.
I
see him on all the commercials.
Yeah, I think this episode especially, we start seeing that King is the leader of the Homeboys group, but you can totally see that Adebisi is the one that truly wants to fucking lead that group. And King is kind of on his way out of not wanting to do a lot of it. Like he's seeing some stuff, especially with the interaction with Saeed that he has. And where Saeed has one of his followers start punching him in the fucking face to just show that he doesn't give a fuck. And you can see that King is kind of like going, I kind of fucking agree with this guy. he doesn't really fucking know what to do with them. And you have more O'Reilly, which fucking O'Reilly, any more with him is fucking awesome. He is great in this. Dean Winters. And overall, I think it definitely takes a step back from episode 1, but I think it, like Cody said, it kind of has to because you kind of got the fucking explosion of episode 1. You need a little breather and you need to explore some more characters and some more storylines, which one of the storylines is them trying to find the murder of Dino Ortolani and bringing in the guy who is investigating this is definitely seems like he is a part of something that he's not just a detective. There's remnants of him being part of one of the groups here. And it gets kind of interesting in that, where the direction that he's going with his investigation and finding out information from, the one name eludes me, the fucking Italian guy. Fuck is the main
Nino.
Nino, yeah.
Yes.
And you can kind of see that the Italians have more control over the majority of groups here. And you start seeing that in this episode, which is interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the main thing about this was definitely the investigation. And basically, we learned about Nino. We learned about his backstory in this one, too, where he got locked up, basically. And, like, he has kind of a respect, like, set up with McManus.
Yeah.
Like, McManus, he's also going through something. His wife has got cancer. He's kind of, like, giving him a little bit more, like, he's like, hey, I want you to go see your wife. And basically, Nino's been through it enough. He's like, what? Why? Like, thank you, but why? Like, he's on the fence, which he should be. Like, if you start being comfortable, then you're probably dead. he deals with that. He finds out some big news about Dino's killer, and basically that's where the episode ends. But before that, Saeed basically is leading his group in the middle of Gen Pop, and basically telling them that they should we're no longer drinking, we're no longer smoking, we're no longer having sex of any kind, foul language, none of it. And they went to pray, and then Anabisi, and he's like, "You're on your knees. You want to suck my dick?" Which he never declines, which I'm not on the record. He never tells him no, but he does get up and then gets punched in the face. He asked to get punched in the face by his leader, which he's like, "You're fucking crazy." He's like, "Yeah, he is." Like, so basically, I'm gonna be crazy enough so you just leave me alone, which I guess is a strategy, but it's fucking weird. But he does such a good job. Like he is like one of the most charismatic people in this prison. That's one of the crazy parts. The other crazy Beecher has this visit with his wife. Basically, they show how basically uncomfortable everybody is in prison, because even when he comes out of the conjugal where they have to like strip him down and like search him, like you have no freedom, like you feel completely bare to everything, which I think is kind of crazy. And he comes
when someone's
back
looking in
into
your asshole, you'll kind of feel like that.
He comes back into Schillinger's cell. And it's also one of the most eerie parts is like talking about his, how was it? And it's like, good. And it's like, my kids, and talks about his kids. And then basically it's like, they're proud of me because I stood by my beliefs. Like, what if they paid your wife a visit? Or your daughter? And it's just like, how much lower can this guy, like, how he's not... I finally realized, because if you look up most hated characters in TV history, he doesn't get on high on enough lists, but I don't think enough people have seen Oz.
Oh, yeah, no.
If you've seen Oz, Schillinger should be very high. The weird thing is, he's like charismatic on the screen, so you like...
You want to see more of him.
That's the thing. You want to see more of him, but you also don't want to see more of him.
Yeah.
You want to see more of him on the show, but you wouldn't want to be anywhere near him in real life.
No. King's going through it in this episode because he wants to get married. That's when we see the woman like outside, just showing her body. He's like, "I want to marry her. You're in here for life." I just don't want to marry her. What the fuck ever? Cool. And at that point, we know conjugals are going away too. Like, what the fucking point? Like at this point, like, it's just like let's just lock this woman up for no fucking reason. We also learn guy in the wheelchair, Justice Hill. Yeah. We see him just laying pipe, just boning for his legs worked. All right.
They want to remind you, this is HBO. This is not TV.
This is HBO. He is banging. His legs work fine. He is hitting so hard in a scene that he doesn't hear a battering ram in his door, which is some of the craziest things I've ever seen. Like, nuts. He is one of the stupidest individuals. So hats off to him in the scene too, because they break through. He runs hog out, just flopping in the wind, just for all the world to see. Mind-blowing scene. I don't know. Possession? Is this what this man was going down for?
I don't remember. Was it?
I think it's possession.
Yeah. Which is why they're showing up to his house.
Which is one, they're busting down the door for a possession charge. Nuts. Yeah. Two, I don't know how long that charge will be. I don't know.
Yeah.
But holy fuck, does he grab a gun and then kills a police officer with his dong out in the wind. Finds out the other officers catch him.
Yeah.
Find out that they killed one of his partners, and the fucker chucks him off the roof. One of the craziest twists is that he's dead. He just yeets him. Ends up getting paralyzed. One of the funniest scenes in the entire show is when Simon Asabis, or whatever his name, Adebisi, and him are sitting there talking about fucking, and him not knowing if he's hard, if he's cold. No, he didn't know him. And him trying to wrap his brain around this. Adebisi, one of the dumbest fuckers walking. What do you mean? What the fuck do you mean by that? He's like, you know, shit happens. So crazy thing. And what a fucking weird thing too. He ends up getting married. He gets married. King gets married, not Ivy.
Yeah,
King gets married, and they have to do stand-ins because they can't even be together on the wedding day. King, if you don't have a bigger clue of not to get married, I don't know what it is, buddy. You can't be there with her. You have to be separated. The conjugal visits are going away, all this stuff. And fucking Simon Adebisi is going to be your wife on the night.
I mean, if you find a woman who's going to strip in a field in front of a prison for you, you put a ring on it.
Yes, that's true. Especially if you're in there for life, right? She's going to end up in jail too because she's indecent exposure. Who is it? Who tells Nino who killed his?
I think it's O'Reilly, isn't it?
It's O'Reilly.
It's O'Reilly,
yeah.
right?
O'Reilly does.
I didn't want to say that
this
wrong.
This is where you see that O'Reilly is really a chess master.
Yeah, that man he's fucking playing everybody.
So O'Reilly moves in, right? O'Reilly moves into Gen Pop. He gets Dino killed, right? He's one of the main on. He gets King to end up killing, talking him up while they're in the kitchen to kill. Then he goes to Nino. He says, "Hey, I'm not sad that your son's gone. Like, I don't give a fuck, but I'm kind of glad he is. But I know who killed him." So ends up telling who killed him. They end up getting him into a supply closet, basically cutting off his fingers, killing him. It basically ends with the news report. Second killing him multiple times, found dead. King hears the news on the TV. He doesn't even know he's dead at this point, I don't think. None of them seem to know at this point that anybody has died.
Yeah.
Like they just found him and they just announced it. So King's sitting there and Nino's walking in while this happens in the show, basically ends at that point.
And it's so hard not to click to episode 3.
Right. So I'm saying, this is those are two staying powers. Overall, I think, does everybody have this episode 1 ranked higher than episode 2?
Yeah.
Are we on the same page on that one? Yeah. But overall, how does everybody feel after episode 2? And did we miss anything?
No, I think you got everything.
We've hit all the major points. I think overall, it's still on the right track of going in the right direction. We get it ends with him going start with his dick. At that point, you gotta click to fucking episode 3. It makes you want to click over to see what the fuck happens.
It does a great job of balancing all the different stories with all the different characters, giving everybody just the right amount of screen time to kind of keep the stories going, and we get you into the episode.
We do introduce a new character. I can't think of his name. He was the one that was stabbed but survived.
Alvarez.
Alvarez. He was in the first
Alvarez.
episode. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Is that the first episode?
Yeah, because he's in there with Beecher. They were both going in at the and he gets stabbed right before.
Yeah, he's the one that gets stabbed in the first episode.
Yeah.
Oh right, but then they go back.
Yeah, now we finally get him. Yeah.
Which we know he's a bigger. We've seen the show. If you've seen the show, he's a bigger part of it. But he did survive the stab. He's in there talking. So we don't see a ton of him yet, but he's still in it. again, yeah, and only 8 episodes in the first season, so like interested. Before I guess they all went to 10, like after HBO. So
Is right.
we're all putting that. What's our kill count for this one? Do we want to do that during this, or we want to do it at the
We
end?
can do it for once we get done with the show. So Oz, episode 1 was 2 kills, and then episode 2 was the 1 kill off screen.
Yes.
So
We
far,
have 3 kills so far for Oz. Interesting. I can't wait to see some of these shows. So we'll put that. We're next up, The Wire. Again, I'm going to talk loose. Like, again, I don't know as much as everybody else. These are my opinion, like my thoughts going through for a first time watch. I don't know any characters. I don't know anything that happens. I don't know any spoilers. So if there's a spoiler out there, I haven't seen it yet. So go me. Basically, the show all opens with D'Angelo is on trial for a shooting. I don't know if this man has been announced or if I missed it, but a man enters the courtroom, woman changes her story, basically has signed off and said everything is good. Man enters, he is not, and then he finds out to be not guilty. Jimmy knows exactly what happened. Basically, he walks into like the person's office and is like, "Hey, that courtroom, like you're about to lose this case." And he's like, "Eyewitness, signed off, testimony, not a chance." All right, just telling you what I'm seeing. Walks in, gets a note, off, not guilty. Got a little lost for me on this one, but Jimmy ends up going to talk to the judge. And then gets he gets in hot water to his higher ups, basically. So he basically asked the judge to, why didn't you clear the courtroom out, and basically like, why would I do that? Did he get in trouble for like questioning the judge on that part, or what was his big transgression that got him in such hot water that I missed?
Well, it's that he just went to the judge and started going off about the whole drug dealing empire and stuff, and now his boss and the other bosses get called in to their boss and be like, "What do you know about this?" And then they, "Oh, we don't know anything about this." So pretty much.
Okay, that's what I was assuming.
Command, pretty much. They went straight to the judge with the stuff.
He should have shut the fuck up and just went about it, and he did not. So that makes more sense.
Yeah.
So D'Angelo gets out. D'Angelo is a part of. He is the nephew.
Yes.
Of
Avon,
the main guy.
Barksdale.
Of what?
Avon Barksdale.
Or Julius, if you will.
Julius Campbell. Strong side. Okay. That's what I thought. I was like, he's a pretty good linebacker. So basically D'Angelo gets out. He gets demoted from where he originally was because, he acted like a crazy person when he should have just let it go. He ends up shooting somebody in the tower. Is that what it's referred to? The tower?
Yeah, the towers, yeah.
One of the towers. But he gets put back into like the lowest like levels, right? And when he gets confronted, I don't know who brings it up to him, but he's like, does my uncle know this or whatever? He's like,
that was a Stringer he was talking to.
Yeah, your uncle clearly knows exactly who you're in this. So yeah, that's why you shouldn't have fucked up. And then basically how it ends up going is the Lieutenant Cedric, right? Cedric?
Yeah.
He creates the group, the Wire group, basically to start checking out this overall group of people, which I thought was very on the nose. Now I know what the Wire led, why it's called the Wire. That helped me. I was like, is this about drugs? Like, what the fuck are they talking about? So, kind of makes sense. And then basically they're all around this part. Young, probably first role, Michael B. Jordan.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah,
I
it's gotta
paused
be
them. I
close,
said, "Is
yeah.
that fucking Michael B. Jordan? What the fuck? This is crazy. What a role to be in! Like this hard hitting show." So before we get into the end of the episode, like any parts that I overall missed, I end up liking. Like I like the. I had the fear that this show like turns into like a police procedural. It had that vibe at the just hear me out. Hear me out. I've only seen 2 episodes of the show. So just hear me out. You can't tell me from the first 2 episodes it doesn't have the markings of like a start of a police procedural a little bit. It does feature a little bit more on the cops. It does feature on that stuff. It doesn't seem like we're into like we get glimpses inside the game, like inside the group, but we don't really get to know a ton about them besides D'Angelo, really. D'Angelo is the only one that we really get any notion of. So I don't believe it's a police procedural. There's no way that it would have risen to its main thing that it has without this. So what was your guys' overall take from the first episode? It fully hooked me in, though. Like, it got me in because, like, there's way too much to unpack. Because especially how this episode ends, I was like, next, now. Like, I didn't wait the 6 seconds. I just clicked and let's go. But I was overall your guys' take on The Wire. This is a revisit for everybody here besides me. So I'm the complete noob. I have no fucking nothing about any of these characters. So this is going to be fun week to week when we talk. And I'm like, this guy seems like a douchebag. Just me. But, you know, so have at it.
I think having the McNulty investigating the murder of a guy named fucking Snot Boogie is fucking fantastic. What a fucking name, man. That's a name you fucking remember. I think
you want to know what Mike adds to the show. That's what Mike adds to the show right there. Gripping commentary. Snot Boogie. Yes. I did laugh at that line for sure.
And also seeing that Stringer has a lot more power than anyone can actually see by him just sitting in that courtroom and knowing what transpires because of that is very interesting. I like how it's really no words in that courtroom by him. He's just sitting there making the drawing, and everything that transpires because of that, of her changing her story just by the look. And that's all that needs.
And Jimmy even says, "Good job." Like, like goes right to him. He knows exactly what the fuck happened. I don't know how you did it, but you fucking did it. So.
And I think that's the part that you didn't mention about there is a witness that actually does testify. And out, and then by the end of the episode, he's dead.
Well, that's why I didn't. I was waiting till the end, but yeah, it's like he and good thing for her, she didn't call because she could have been the exact same fate.
They said a good message there.
So basically, how the end of the episode ends is, D'Angelo's walking up to a bunch of people crowded around. There's a body on the ground. Turns over the body, and because in the first in the courtroom, we don't see that testimony of him admitting that he's. Do we see that?
Yeah, we see the part where he says that's the guy.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought that was just a flashback because like they showed us that they didn't show us on screen. So then I may have missed that part. But basically, he admits that he saw D'Angelo kill the guy. Mm-hmm. That guy is laid, shot in the face, basically. Which to me is like, again. I haven't seen anything. That's a fucking setup move 101 if I've ever seen one. Because there's no benefit after you've been off is to kill the guy that saw you regardless of how you felt. Like you just move about your day, like whatever. So somebody's fucking with D'Angelo at that point because he sees the body and he's like, and he just turns around and like walks away. Like he's like, fuck. Like, so
I thought that was sending a message like, "Hey, we're gonna get off in court, and then if you testify against us, we're gonna kill you anyway." So
yeah,
you might as well not.
I think it sets both.
Yeah,
I think it sets up both things. But if I was D'Angelo, I'm like, what the fuck? Like now I'm gonna be the target of this. Like there's no question, which we find out in episode 2. So Mark, Why do you love this police procedural as much as you do?
Just had to process that for a minute. Yeah, this is probably one of my favorite pilots. It's maybe my favorite pilot of all time. I love the first episode of this show so much, especially. I love it so much, especially on revisit, just because it. I think a thing I took for granted the first time is how well this episode sets everything up. How it just kind of lightly touches base with pretty much every important character that we're going to see throughout the series, and anybody of any note, like, is going to have at least throughout the series, or at least for like the drug part of it, like when we get to it, and just such a great way just to enter us into this world. We're on a murder scene, talking to a suspect about a guy named Snot Boogie, just awesome. And and then, yeah, of course, you kind of mentioned it is funny you mentioned the police procedural, because I feel like the more we get into the show, the more like we're gonna kind of see how The Wire, in all intents and purposes, killed police procedurals. Like, I can't watch one now because like The Wire just like ruins all of it, because like every kind of little aspect of like every police procedural, like The Wire just kind of torpedoes it with its realisticness and kind of how we get to there in any place matter. But no, and I think a thing that also I think we're going to kind of get into mostly through season 1, and what I really love about this pilot so much is it really just kind of chucks you in the deep end. It doesn't really kind of hold your hand on anything, even on like terminology. Like I like, because all like kind of like the little quips of kind of the cop speak that that you kind of don't really know what they're saying, and you don't really understand what they're really saying to like the middle of season 1 or like season 2 and some place like what, like, what's a fucking knocko, and how come like everybody's calling these guys knockos? Like, what is that? Or like catching a body. Like, there's just like little terminology that the show just kind of throws at you and say, hey, if you stick with us long enough, you're gonna pick it up. But if not, then who cares? Like, you weren't going to be with the show anyway.
Yeah. Matt, what was your takes on the first episode?
Yeah, I think like Mark said, I think it does a great job. It establishes a lot of the characters, and it just pretty much drops you off right in the middle of the story. It's not McNulty already knows about the Barksdales. He doesn't know the whole thing, but he knows that there's a power that's controlling pretty much all the drug trade in this area, and he's getting frustrated that he can't get anything done with it, and that's why he talks to the judge. And then it just all starts rolling from there. But I think it does a great job. It introduces all the characters, a lot of the detectives, like Herc and Carver kind of will become the comic relief aspect for a lot of the show going forward. So it's cool to introduce those. Bubbles is a character we haven't really talked about, but he and I think this is the episode 2 that his friend gets beat up by the drug dealers, and that kind of activates him into super snitch mode. And you see that's pretty much kind of at the end of the day, that's one of the things that is going to become troublesome for the Barksdale organization. The fact that they now have Bubbles helping the police department. And then, but yeah, I think it does a great job of, like I said, establishing all the characters and balancing it all out. And it wants you to see what's going to happen next. It was interesting going back to see, actually, when you watch this on rewatch, like Mark said, and you see how they're setting up things that you didn't realize the first time around. So that I think that's going to be cool, because this is my first time rewatching the whole show, so that's going to be cool. And just the old technology too, seeing the police using the typewriters and the whiteout and stuff, and all the flip phones and everything. So it's cool. So it was great. Yeah.
Which, going back slightly, another scene I just kind of want to talk is, because every time I rewatch it, I just love the scene where he has that first initial talk with Rawls, and like Rawls is just like eating into him. And I love especially where he's talking about the murders he beat. He's like 14. Like, what are you talking about? Like, oh well, this was like last year's murder. He's like, why the fuck? He's like, why the fuck are they bringing up last year's murder? Like, doesn't matter. Like, that's how you know. Like, we're just kind of. That's also a sign of like this is not a procedural, because usually, like, if we're just kind of in a regular cop show, it's like, oh, we gotta catch the murderer. Where like this boss is like, I don't give a fuck about a last year murder. Right? We're already past that. Like that stat doesn't matter to us anymore.
And usually the captain is like on his guy's side, trying to help him out, not flipping him off the whole conversation.
Yeah. Yeah, again, as somebody that doesn't know a lot, I think there's just so much to still wait for. So, like, you guys see a little moment, you're like, oh, I can't wait till that pays off. Me, I'm like, I don't know what the fuck's going to happen. So, I'm fucking stuck in La La Land on this one. No, but overall, first episode I thought was really good. I don't know the actor that plays Jimmy from really anything, but I think he does a really good job, which I think is important, which I thought was a risk when I saw him. I was like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, this is the guy that's like one of the leads of The Wire. Like, why the fuck are we even care about this? But maybe he doesn't. Maybe he dies in episode 3 and I just don't know yet. So, but overall, like,
interesting bit
we're
of
off to a good job.
The person they originally wanted for that role was John C. Reilly. So that would have been a completely different show.
Yeah.
But that was back when he was more of a serious actor before he started doing all the Will Ferrell stuff.
Yeah, that's true. We can go to right into episode 2 of The Wire if everybody's ready. So basically, so Cedric, Lieutenant Cedric, is getting this rag bag like group of just fucking morons together, I guess, to run this.
It was his
I don't know what
Avengers
better
Assemble moment.
Yeah, it's like if Captain America said Avengers Assemble and like 6 trash men showed up. Like, we'll do what we can. He's not happy with his group. We got that that fucking idiot. I don't know what's his name, but he fucking shoots his gun downtown, which he also adds like one of the biggest fuck up moments of this entire like, he's got a friend in the group. Like, what he knows somebody. He's got a family connection that like fucking makes him exempt to shit. Is that what we're finding out?
Kinda.
His father-in-law is he's a major in another district.
Oh, fantastic! Well, this fucker shouldn't have a gun. He shouldn't be able to. He shouldn't be able to write a ticket. He's a fucking moron. He literally, and I love the excuse. One, who plays? Who plays Cedric?
Lance Reddick.
Yeah, Lance
Reddick.
Yeah.
He just passed away, right? Rest in peace. But his just blank stares is cinema.
Oh yeah.
When he walks in there after that guy shoots that gun, and he's like, I was just telling him how quick my trigger pull is. The fuck are you testing that for? You don't shit. Like, he just sits there. There's Cedric basically spends the episode going around, trying to get better people. Like, can you just send me anybody? Because he's got what has he got? Like 2 like guys that are pushing their 60s, like sitting there. Like 50s,
I feel like the 2 guys from Brooklyn Nine-Nine are probably based on those 2 guys.
Yeah, he's just sitting there, and they're like, overtime. There will be no overtime until you produce something. Like, the fuck? And they're just sitting there. They're going to be useless.
No.
Jimmy ends up picking up D'Angelo because after the death of the guy, they're like, we'll pick him up. They start interrogating him, and he ends up basically writing a letter, like a sorry letter to the
I didn't do it, but I'm sorry.
I didn't know. I'm sorry. Like, giving all this list of shit, he's just like, you don't have to say, like, he does all this stuff, and they just keep like patting. He had a family, he had this, like all this shit. I didn't do it, but fuck, I'll write it. His lawyer shows up, like, fucking smacking him, like, don't say fucking anything, you idiot. Just like all the stuff, and I love whoever plays Jimmy's like partner.
Oh, Bonk, yeah.
Yeah, as soon as this lawyer walks in, he just grabs the paper from him and folds it like, thank you. Like, we're done right here. But he ends up picking him, but which gets Jimmy in even more shit, right, from Cedric. Because, like, why the fuck do you pick him up for? Like, there's no reason. He's like, oh, no, like, he's trying to do something. Like, everything that Jimmy thinks he's doing right, you're a fucking idiot. Like, you're doing, every one of your higher-ups have a problem with it. It was discussed in either episode 1 or episode 2. I'm not really sure. But this is, like, their last, like, there was something discussed. I can't remember. I forgot to write it down. But, like, they're moving off of the drug thing, like the funding or whatever. They're moving away from it, or there was some discussion.
Homeland Security, when he's talking, or he was talking to the FBI guy, that they weren't going to be investigating drugs anymore.
Yeah, so like they're basically the last stretch. They're moving off of it. Yeah, Cedric ends up having.
All this is like it was right after 9/11. It's like this show premiered in 2002. So.
I think the main crux of this episode, and if I'm wrong, somebody can pick up a different one. But the 3 guys, fucking dipshit that fires a gun, and the 2 other guys decide that it's a great time to go and push their weight around at the tower. I argue one of the coolest, like, scenes, like, from a TV show I've seen in a really long time, of how they use the darkness to, like, create the fear of, like, not knowing where things are coming from. I thought that was very interesting. But the fucking idiot that shoots the gun in the room because he has a quick trigger also takes the fucking pistol and punches a 14-year-old in the eye with it. Bloodies his eye, just brutalizes him. And then all you see is, like, glass bottles, like, launching at this place. Oh, this car. They have just a car.
Yeah.
Just fucking raining shit down. They see TVs falling. They see I think gunshots are fired. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, dipshit cops start shooting randomly at the building.
Yeah, that motherfucker starts unloading his gun.
Well, they're shooting at him. He's got to fire back.
It's a miracle he didn't just shoot some family up in the building.
Then, of course, he doesn't die. Because this dipshit needs to continue. I don't know where we're at, but, like, Schillinger's on that characters that you hate list. This fucking guy is not beat Schillinger. I fucking hate this guy. He's that guy in the class assignment that you get, and he doesn't even put his name on the paper, but wants the grade. He's a fucking moron. The guys are hiding under the car. The thing is fucking torched by the end of it because Cedric shows up after this fucking scene. None of the fuckers die. None of the 3 cops die. They're all alive. And Cedric shows up to this fucking torched out fucking police car and just is livid with them. What the fuck do you think this is the reasoning you do this? Like, holy shit. Like, I feel so bad for Cedric. Like, and I thought it was a very interesting move. Cedric goes and he says, "There's like, who hit the kid?" And he's like, "Right, why'd you hit the kid?" And he's like, because he whatever." And he's like, "No, you didn't. You feared for your life. They were throwing that you didn't know where to go." Like, he basically gave him a PR training on the floor. Like, this is how you're going to answer this. Yeah. Like, when you get questioned about it, this is it. Episode does end at that point where it is Cedric gets a phone call. The 14-year-old is blind in the eye that he got punched in, and it ends. Crazy. Like, oh, and Jimmy's drunk off his ass. Like, we forgot to say that. Jimmy's in a fucking car. Here's a guy just trying to break a window, gets out and slides down a fucking hill. Cop! Slides.
That's probably another list we can do, a Jimmy DUI count.
Yeah, I think, motherfuckers.
I think hopefully that's the last time we'll see Jimmy drunk, though.
I don't like what you said. I don't believe you now. So overall, I think this is a trend. I don't know if we're accurate, but I think this is I think episode 1 of The Wire was better than episode 2, in my opinion. I think there were cool parts of it. But overall, I like the establishment of where we were going. We kind of saw the power of the group. Is the group got a name that I'm missing, or like
I don't think so. No.
yet?
Not
Like
yet.
the group that the Wire's investigating, basically.
Hmm.
They also are on the roof, I should say. Like there was a whole stakeout. They actually saw information that went down when D'Angelo got picked up by the cops. Like Cedric has eyes now on the group that
Oh, yeah.
I don't think Jimmy knew. Like I don't think Jimmy
No,
knows that the
they're not
group is like,
communicating.
yeah, they're not. Hey, if you need somebody, I'll tell you the dipshit that fired somebody and Jimmy. You can have Jimmy. I don't know how good Jimmy will be, but he better be the moron that shoots the gun.
But yeah, that's the scene too with the Bubbles and the hats. Like I said, Bubbles is a super snitch. He's
Yeah, because they run that guy down and beat the living fuck out of it, like just
Mhm.
beat his ass, and then he
Mhm.
gets upset because they beat his ass, and just like, I'll tell you shit right now. What do you need to know? I'm like, well, this is pretty easy. But overall, I think it was a great like. Again, you can't. I think important in a TV show, you can't be on the gas pedal 100 every episode.
Yeah.
You'll burn out characters. You'll burn out episodes. You can't just axe people every episode. Like even Oz is taking it. We killed 2 people in the first episode. We're only killing 1 in the second episode. We got to get enough people influx. So overall, I think the episode 2 was really good. I don't know. Did I miss anything from episode 2 that we want to discuss a little bit more? I guess Jimmy being drunk is a theme that will be popular in the show because he did not get checked into any therapy or any rehab. So I thought, honestly, if you want to know, I thought he was going to die. I don't know
love that
why I
scene,
thought
though, where
that.
he's trying to stop the people from like robbing the car. This drunk ass falls down the hill.
Because he slides, and I thought those fuckers were just going to turn on him, like turn towards him. I was like, oh, well. For some reason, I thought it was a zombie movie for a second. I was like, oh, drew attention. Now they're going to come eat his ass. Like, what the fuck? I don't know what they're talking about. But yeah, but I was really annoyed that I didn't click on episode because when Cedric is on that phone, it was like, and then you just see the top. Yeah. So most likely, just to keep everybody in the loop, we were probably going to move to 3 episodes per week, just to move this and just so we get more out of the shows. I think I don't want to do too many, but I also don't want to do too less because
we'll have to experiment with it. Yeah.
Peek behind the curtain. We're trying to record like every 2 weeks, give or take, if we can. This panel may not be always the same. If somebody has something going on that can't be on, we will just move people in and out. So like we're not going to add anybody. We'll just do less. But the group, because I want to have the common theme from most of the crew. But did I miss anything from episode 2 of The Wire?
I don't think I actually like this one better than the first episode.
Okay.
Because I think because like now you actually have the characters. They're on their missions. I think one of my favorite scenes is the interrogation scene with McNulty and Bunk. I just love the interplay with the two. You see that they're really good working together. They pretty much just BS that guy who he's almost confessing to stuff. And it also shows that D'Angelo actually kind of has a conscience, unlike a lot of the other people in the crew. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I think
he also has that sit down too with his uncle that says,
they have like the whole Avon doing like the big family cookout thing there, and he gets to introduce everything. Got Stringer kind of making moves on D'Angelo's woman and stuff. But yeah, it's a really.
I think one of the it's a little tiny moment that we get to see of them in the pit and him trying to give orders and the fucking construction's going on.
Oh, yeah.
It just shows how bottom of the barrel they have fallen. But yeah, the riot scene with the fucking Looney Tunes brigade is fucking hilarious. And I think that's a great, even though I enjoyed the first episode more, this episode does give us that fucking insane moment that I think works and keeps us on the hinge for the third episode.
Yeah. I mean, it is really I'm gonna try my best to tiptoe through this. It is really fun to watch a lot of characters at their starting points. Because I will just say, I guess what we're called Presbeluski on the show, dipshit. You will see a dipshit for quite a long time. So
If he was in Oz, he'd already be taken care of. Okay. Proves Oz is over better than Wire. We will rank the episode at the end. Now on to my favorite TV show that's ever existed on the face of the planet is Breaking Bad. We talk about great pilots. I think this pilot is absolutely fantastic. I think this sets up the entire world really well. I think so. Basically, it starts with him standing there in his underwear and that thing. And holds up the camera and he's like, "You're going to hear a lot of awful things about me. This is the thing." And then holds up the gun and here's the law enforcement. And then it goes right back into where we don't know anything about him. You can kind of see early on that this man has a little bit of an anger issue. Walt struggles. Walt is kind of the most overlooked guy on the face of the planet.
Yeah.
He does not have a lot of the classroom don't take him seriously. He's at the car wash scrubbing tires. He doesn't have that. His wife basically owns him. But different moments you can just see his anger building in him. You can definitely see it when basically he ends up coming home. He finds out that he's got a surprise party. This man, he's working basically 2 jobs. He's a teacher. He's also working at the car wash. He does not make enough money. He's in debt. There's even that moment where he comes home, and it may be in episode 2, but he comes home and was like, "Did you use the Discover card?" "Well, we needed that." "You don't use that card." Blah, blah, blah. He's micromanaged through and through. You can just see it all over his face. He walks home, walks out, and gets a surprise partner. That's when we see a lot of the main characters. Hank is introduced at that point. Arrogant, over the top, which I've seen the show. Everybody's seen the show. We're going to try to be, but there are stuff set up in the very first episode that gets paid off at the very end episode. It's a through line. I think Vince Gilligan, the writer of the show, is an absolute genius. He just is crazy. It's when he first shows his interest in meth. You get your first glimpse at that party because it's Hank, and it's Walt's party, and the center. He is not the center of attention at his own party. Hank has taken the spotlight there. Shows interest in why he's like, "Hey, you ever think I can just go?" I was like, "Yeah, we'll take you on a ride along." He ends up going on a ride along. Did everybody watch this on Netflix? Or did you guys own it, or what's going on? I'm just curious.
Yeah, I watched it on Netflix, yeah.
I actually bought it on Vudu when it was on sale, I think a month ago. So, yeah.
That's right. There are not tits in the original airing of this show, but everyone I've ever seen since is the uncensored version on Netflix. Just girls' tit. That's a bra in the normal one. This is the first time I watched it on Netflix in a while. What the? Those are tits. There's no tits, but there was great ad, I guess. Thanks a lot, Mike. But basically, they end up in a drug bust. Walt is in the back seat while this drug bust is happening. He watches Jesse Pinkman pop out of a window on the other side. Basically gets Walt's mind. Walt asks a lot of drug questions right up front.
He's not fucking subtle.
If Hank was a good DEA agent, I'm just not tipping anything. It should not took him 5 seasons to find out who Walter White is. Heisenberg, not a clue. Just he's a terrible DEA agent. Either way, he ends up asking how much money, all the stuff about it. Goes in, he asks, "Can I see the lab?" "I'll let you go." Goes in and sees the lab. He basically approaches Jesse and says, "We should be partners. And if we're not partners, I'm going to turn you in." Gives Jesse no fucking sake. Jesse also is probably, when we get into it, is one of the most troubled TV characters of all time. Like, this man goes through the ringer. He definitely is starting to. He's basically has no choice in this one. They get an RV. They get an RV. They set up their cook shop. They do all that. Meanwhile, I had to quote this is "fuck you and your eyebrows" is one of the favorite lines. He ends up having to, like, he gets a cancer diagnosis from his doctor. That's basically what jumpstarts all this. He gets cancer. He knows he doesn't know how long he's got it, but he knows his family is not in great shape and medical bills will just literally cripple them. So he goes in it, I think, with the best of intentions. He does. He basically brings Jesse in because he knows nothing about the world. Yeah. He knows nothing about the world. He needs somebody inside the world. He may have just picked the biggest dumbass one of the biggest dumbasses on the face of the planet to be the person. He brings in the what's the word I'm looking for? He cooks the purest meth possible. He's a chemist. He knows exactly what to fucking do. He has the purest shit. And Jesse goes, I need you to go find somebody so we can start selling this shit through. Well, unfortunately, Emilio and Crazy Hank are just like, take me to this fucking person who cooked this shit because you didn't fucking cook this, you fucking idiot. And again, Jesse almost gets Walt killed like in the first episode.
Run, Mr. White! It knocks himself out.
One of the most unathletic runs I've ever seen in my life. Run, Mr. White does this and hits his eye, swells it up. He gets put into. They were like, show me how to cook, basically, because like, show me what you're doing to get out of it. Walt is super smart. He's not going to fall for stupid shit. Basically, he starts brewing up a concoction to basically knock them the fuck out or kill them. Basically, I think he thinks he's going to kill them. How it works, like,
yeah.
But he ends up escaping. He holds the door. Those fucking bullet holes that go right above his head. Like, he is not fit for this environment at all at this point, which I think they do a really good job of setting up how naive he really is on this world. And again, that just pays off in future seasons and episodes. But he almost gets killed. Then he almost gets stopped by the cops because, of course, they start a fire. Emilio starts a fire because he's blowing smoke in Walt's face. He's like, come on, man. He throws it out the window, starts fire. Here's sirens. It's fire trucks. He's just, by the way, he's holding a fucking handgun and no one ever fucking checks him at all. Like, this, there's a man with an RV that's crashed. He's wearing a thing. I don't know how crazy Arizona is, but apparently, or New Mexico. Arizona or New Mexico?
New Mexico.
Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Yeah.
He said, and they just see him drive by, like, fuck it. Quacked out guy. We got a fire to worry about. We're fine. No reports.
Just using the handgun to find his pants.
Yeah. And then my last note of the episode basically is basically they store the thing, and then Walt fucks. Walt comes home and has sex with Skylar, basically, which is also. I forgot to put this. One of the saddest moments ever. He's just laying in bed with Skylar, and it's like it's his birthday, and she can't get off the computer enough to like anything. Just getting all handsy, just sitting next to him, just like, well, it is your birthday. Fucking thanks, cool. This is fucking miserable. Skylar, one of the worst characters ever. And Walt Jr., I think this is the same. Walt Jr. gets his breakfast. Like, this fucking kid is obsessed with breakfast. You'll find out in the later episode. All the fucking cares about is fucking eating in the morning. So That's episode 1 in a nutshell. Like, basically, it's got everything in it, like, right out of the gate. We get to meth. He's a teacher. He's got cancer. He works at a car wash. He tells that car wash to go fuck himself. He's kind of shows this evil side to him already. Like, there's something more to Walter that we just don't know yet. We don't know why Walt is the way he is. But I think it's it's one of those episodes. Do you click the next episode after watching the first episode? I don't know how you don't. Like, I think, like, this episode, this has everything that you could like. If I describe Breaking Bad in a nutshell, it's a chemistry teacher that cooks meth and joins the world of crime after finding out he has cancer. Does everything too. So what's everybody's take on the very first episode of Breaking Bad? Because, again, everybody watch this in syndication, or did you guys watch this, like, just binge, like, when it came to, like,
I had to catch. I started. It was after the second season had started. I had to go back and watch the first season. But I technically went into it while the second season was ongoing.
Oh yeah, I was on this one from episode 1. I was trying to tell people to watch it and stuff.
I think it was after, like, as my brothers were watching it, it was one of those. I thought, you know what, I'll probably, like, this feels like something I'd be really into, so I'm just gonna wait as long as I can. And I waited until it was right before. It was after the first half of season 5 had aired, and I had a buddy of mine, like, steal the first half, and then I watched it all on Netflix, like, in 2 weeks. And I sat there like an asshole for like 6 months waiting for the next 8 episodes.
Yeah.
It.
Go ahead.
Oh no. I think the character of Walter White from the jump, like, we see him at the beginning, kind of being, like you said, the straight-laced kind of do-gooder, but also is overlooked. But he has a fucking switch that we see in just episode 1 where he is already fucking nuts. The man's already crazy. They don't shy away from that, and it doesn't help that. Go ahead.
I think it's the part where he holds the gun out.
Yeah.
I think it's when he takes out the guy because his life is at risk. Ooh. The one thing you learn very quick about Walter is Walt cares about him.
Yeah.
Above all. I mean, he doesn't really care. Like, when he gets his back pushed against the wall, that's when he, like, I'm going to find a way out of this. Like, I'm not going to let somebody be justified and kill me. So he ends up taking people out. But when he holds that gun out, when the cops are coming, like, he's drawing the line at that point where it's them or me. Like, he doesn't put into the thing, like, I can't go to where these people are going to put me. Like, I'm going to just take it my own actions. So, kind of crazy. He has that. This is always a show that was always like, I feel it seems weird. When we all have those great shows, right? Everybody likes the show. Or, like, I think The Wire is a perfect example. You mention The Wire to people. You need to watch The Wire. I think it always runs with an inherent risk because when you like a show and you think it's that good, to worry about, like, somebody not liking it. I haven't seen The Wire fully through, so I don't know for a fact. This is, like, I've always felt like my 100%. If you can get into it, if you watch it from beginning to end, there is no way at the end of the day you're going to look at me and say this is a bad show. Like, you wasted your time. Like, it's a solid slant. Like, when you have that movie that you're 100% on, like, it may not be for, like, if it's not one that's weird or out there, but like for Mike, Jurassic Park. If you have a brain in your skull, you can put on Jurassic Park and it can be a foolproof. Like, no one's going to sit there and be like, oh, fuck, I'm wasting my time with Jurassic Park. It doesn't work. Breaking Bad's that one for me. If you watch, you may hate certain parts of it. It may drag for certain parts, but if you watch from episode 1 to the end, you will know exactly why Breaking Bad has the There's still an episode to this day, we'll talk about it when we get to it, is still, after like 60,000 reviews on IMDb, is at a 10.0. It is never there is nothing in this world people watch and all agree on 100%. And there's still an episode that's sitting at 10.0. That's insanity. There's jackasses that will walk down and probably rate it a half star. It's still sitting there. If you watch it, you'll know. So overall, I think it's one of the best pilots out there. I think it sets up the world exactly. You see the pants flying, and you're like, where in the fuck are we going to go? I also think it's kind of crazy because I don't know Cranston prior to Bad because I know him as Malcolm in the Middle's dad. I don't know him as he had Walter White in him, which I think is crazy. Like you're similar to you're telling me the guy that played A Knight's Tale is going to be the Joker. You're going to tell me the dad is going to be the king, the meth pin, drug pin. Like no way, the kingpin. So I think it's kind of crazy. So everybody, I guess, first episode worked for everybody, right? Or we in for the ride?
Oh yeah, yeah. We get one of the greatest character actors of all time, Dean Norris, finally getting his overall due. The man appeared in Terminator 2 as a fucking random SWAT member, fucking Starship Troopers as the main military guy, but then he finally gets his fucking chance to shine and he fucking takes it. Like that first episode, he's just in on it. He's the fucking basically the idiotic DEA agent that just fucking flies by the seat of his pants and just is having the time of his life while giving information he probably shouldn't be giving to a civilian.
Yeah, we can go look at that. Hank is just, and again, it's just something that we can all track. But like how Hank starts in the show and how Walter starts in the show, and where they'll basically do that is nuts. Like it's just, and look at the cast of characters in the show, like Aaron Paul, Bryan Cranston, Dean Norton, like all these characters, and you're going to tell me they're going to be in one of the greatest shows in TV history? Okay, sure. Like I don't know. I still don't know how this didn't end up on HBO, or like how many people passed on Breaking Bad. Like how AMC grabbed Breaking Bad is crazy. Because this is like I just. You want me to do a chemistry teacher selling meth? Yeah, no fucking. You just did prison. What the fuck? You don't want that on HBO? Like crazy. So we'll just go into episode 2 if everybody's ready, or did I miss anything in episode 1?
I mean, like you said, I think it's definitely one of the best pilots of all time. I just love the setup, all the characters, and even just like little small things like panning through the house and you see like the Nobel Prize thing up on the wall. So you see that Walt is a smart guy, and now he's just sitting here working at the school where no one appreciates him, working at the car wash and stuff. And I also love like the lesson that he's given at the school, talking about chemistry being the study of change and stuff, which pretty much kind of telling you what the show is going to be. I love that that was perfectly set up. Yeah.
And you just think like how sad you feel for Walt. Like works as 8 to 3 or whatever as a basically teacher, and then has to go scrub tires for this children that he helps.
Yeah,
like,
he's
during,
teaching.
Like, I'd do meth too.
I just want to point to that because you had mentioned like how did Breaking Bad end? I was kind of curious on that, so I just did a quick search. Apparently, I think the network that had the first crack at Breaking Bad was Showtime. And they passed on it and instead did Weeds. The marijuana show everybody forgot. And then apparently FX had a shot at it. Also passed on it because they had a number of crime shows at the time. So that's where it ended up on AMC.
Yeah, this was their like we're gonna do dramas now because they had the 1-2 punch of this and Mad Men at at the same time. Yeah,
that's crazy that they passed on it. Like, Showtime could be still like imagine HBO passing out on Game of Thrones. Like I also think the same thing with AMC getting Walking Dead at the time. Walking Dead was the biggest show in TV history at one. It was an episode. Everybody tuned in on Sunday nights. then we watch the same thing for fucking ever, and we're like, maybe we need to get the fuck off this train. Like, these zombies fucking suck. No one's eating anybody at this point. There's a tiger. What the fuck? So I am so. If I ever go on a rant on that fucking show, I hate that fucking show.
That won't be on the show anytime soon.
It will never. A new person will be joining the show. It will not be me. I wasted too many Sunday nights on that shit. I waited. I think I got all the way to season 8 or whatever that. I was like, I'm fucking over it. Okay, so episode 2, Cat's in the Bag. How it starts. Get Jesse. I think also one of the most awkward but funny exchanges. They have to get the RV out of the ditch. That guy pulls it out, and they're just handing him like wet fucking money, and they're sitting there like, sorry. And Walt's like trying to explain what this guy's giving him nothing. Just like,
he's handed him $40. And Walt, like, why are you only giving him $40?
Walt basically tells Jesse that he's storing the RV at his fucking house. Like, you don't have a fucking choice. You're staying there. He's like, yeah, they're probably dead anyways in there. We kind of find out in episode 2, Skylar's kind of catching on to Walt's behavior. He's not acting right. I don't think to this point, like, Skylar doesn't know he has cancer, right? It's kind of he's held it to his own self. He's not telling anybody. Then while Skylar's not buying any of it, basically.
I mean, why would she suspect anything? He sleeps naked on his bathroom floor. Obviously, it's the norm's the norm right now.
Yeah. AT&T calls.
Greatest phone call. You're so awkward on that fucking message.
Please call me back.
And she
I think this is very inappropriate. I'm having breakfast with my family. Don't call this house again. They all leave. Skylar calls back, "What up, bitch?" Like, what up? Also, if you haven't learned, Jesse's favorite word is bitch. It's the most iconic, like, "Sup, bitch?" It works really well. I literally put Skylar calls Jesse back. Oh no! ... Basically calls him and tells him that Crazy 8 and like Emilio hasn't moved, but Crazy 8's like breathing in there weird, like they're not dead. Like, he's not dead where you think he is. Walt drives over to Jesse's house instead of going where he is. He finds Crazy 8 walking down the street, which I think is one of the most eerie sights ever. He turns his fucking Pontiac staring or whatever. He just sees fucking Crazy 8. And then Walt, I don't know what Walt thinks he's going to do, but he rolls down the window and goes, "Hey!" This fucker that's just trying to kill me. So Crazy bolts it, it hits a tree, knocks himself out. Skylar, they come back to Skylar. Skylar finds Jesse's website. With the most MySpace looking shit I've ever seen in my life. Walt and Jesse have the conversation about basically disposing of the bodies, getting them done. He's like, this acid will basically melt down the bodies. We need to do that. But while Jesse's having to take care of Emilio, it's agreed upon that Walt has to take care of Crazy 8. Like, they split the duties, right? Crazy 8's not dead, so Crazy 8 has to be killed. The other one has to be disposed of. So Jesse goes shopping, fucking just sitting down in tubs in the middle of the fucking aisles, like such a dumbass.
You really look at that scene and you go, it's realistic to him thinking of acid and going, there's no fucking way that this plastic tube is gonna work, and he's just trying to put himself in the fucking tube.
Yeah. Walt Skyler stops by
as he's dragging the body.
Yeah.
Yo.
Jesse's house hits the same famous TikTok sound as "Do not sell marijuana to my husband." Basically, Walt tells Skyler he's on the weed. Basically, which one's worse? He drops my husband's a D, my brother-in-law's a D agent or whatever. So yeah, on weed, sure. Like we're fucking cooking meth, but we'll settle for marijuana.
Which that is news to Jesse too, by the way.
Oh yeah, no, he fucking thinks that he told her everything.
Yeah.
So she fucking brings up marijuana. He goes, I won't do that.
It's bad enough Walter's using all his weed.
I think this is the first time that we get a glimpse that I know this is probably like multiple times already in 2 episodes. Walt tells Jesse something specific and what to do. Jesse does the fucking opposite. He puts Emilio in the tub, pours the acid. They're talking about it. Crazy 8's still alive. So Jesse's like, you don't fucking do your part of the deal. They end up rounding the corner and the fucking floor just gives away and Emilio comes spilling down, like in all but yeah. You know, that acid doesn't melt plastic, but it does melt ceramic, wood, everything. Like, get to cleaning, basically. They're cleaning everything up. I literally put Emilio comes through the floor. Walt's still trying to get the courage to end up killing somebody. So I think that's the side that we also see Walt. Walt is a brutal person. Like, Walt, he's fucked up.
Yeah.
But he isn't that fucked up. He hasn't went to those levels yet. He doesn't know. That's a side that he can't do. He was hoping to walk down and Crazy 8 be like knocked out while he killed him or something. He's awake. He's awake. He's trying to talk to him. He's trying to get some clarity. And episode 2 ends with the kids finding the gas mask in the woods, in the desert. So kind of just a lot to unpack in the second episode. Basically, the crimes of the first episode rear their heads. It does not go as according to plan. Again, Crazy 8 just walking down the fucking suburb, neighborhood, just fucking chilling. Luckily, Walt walks by and fucking finds him. But then the house, they're killing. Skyler's onto Walt, but again, doesn't know yet he has cancer, which I think is the biggest out ever. Fucking cancer. I smoke weed because I have cancer. But I also know he's trying to do everything without troubling his family. He wants to do everything behind the scenes. He wants to cover everything, and he doesn't want anything to go awry. Little does he know that that's never going to fucking happen in the entire goddamn show. You're never going to get away with any of this shit. But he doesn't know that right now. So overall, I think this is one that ramps up from episode 2.
Oh, definitely.
And I like it more than episode 1 because that was the starting point, but then we just get straight into this is one that doesn't feel like the gas pedal was let off. We're just every twist and turn we have another problem. We're buying acid, we're disposing bodies, we're trying to kill. Skyler showing up at Jesse's house, onto the crime already, before it has it. Jesse learns there's a DEA agent. Fucking Emilio comes flying through the floor because of the acid eaten away. They're having to pull the RV and get that all situated. Everything, and they can't cook at this point because they're having to take care of the other issues. So they're behind schedule basically on everything. So what were your guys' overall takeaway on episode 2 of Breaking Bad.
One thing that we didn't touch on is Walt's son has a disability, and they have that scene where he's being made fun of by the teenager, and fucking Walt. Like, you think he's just leaving because he doesn't want any conflict, and then he just comes fucking barging in the front door and smashes that kid fucking knee down. And
that's something. His anger issues,
yeah,
show up more and more as the show goes on. Like he yells at the car wash guy. Like he flips out and just says, "Go fuck himself, fuck his eyebrows." His kid's getting made fun of. He leaves, and he just comes in and kicks that fucker in the knee and just stomps on it. It was like, what? Having trouble walking? Like, just, and Skylar's seeing this, like, who the fuck is this guy? Like,
he's gonna get
because I don't like. Yeah, we should do like a Walt gets laid time clock and like see how long it takes. But no, like, yeah, he has that rage issue that is just slowly show like something's not right with Walt, and it ain't just a cancer.
It's slowly building.
He's been pushing it down for so many years now.
He feels like he's a guy that swallowed his ego for a long time, and he's letting the ego actually out. And like, I'm who I am. Like I think doing this is like making him feel powers that he didn't know he had. Like. I was a good citizen my entire life, and what did it get me? Fucking cancer. So why not play on the bad side and see what happens? Like, it's kind of interesting, man, when you think about it that way. Thanks for bringing that up, Mike. I totally forgot about that.
And it's not only just the action that builds up in this episode; it's the comedy. The comedy fucking heightens in this episode to the degree because you got the
marijuana.
Yeah, the marijuana. You got the fucking plastic tube. You got the fucking bathtub.
AT&T,
like AT&T phone call. Like you have everything that just ramps up.
Jesse's voicemail.
This is definitely
the website.
Yeah,
like
the second episode definitely surpasses the first episode for me, for sure. Of this one.
Yeah. Mark, where were you at? How did you feel about episode 1 to episode 2, and then how did you feel overall with episode 2?
I mean, listen, you mentioned that maybe we need a comedy in this. Like, I don't think we need one at all. I mean, come on, like, it's some real grade A comedic moments here. I mean,
that's true.
That's gonna go away as we go further in the show, though.
Yeah. Come on, who is laughing when you see this body just fall into the floor?
I laughed really hard, actually. Like seeing Walt and Jesse's reactions, just like, and then Walt just having to break down why that acid, yes, not plastic, everything fucking else.
No, like, I mean, it is. I think kind of at least going off the elevator pitch, we kind of keep noting that on this for a while, is that it is watching a normal person kind of turn to crime. And I think kind of as we're like kind of, especially on revisits, like, okay, Walter, it's not a normal person. There's something there, like, clearly there is something that Walter's acting out here. And like we kind of like, especially kind of, at least we're past the first episode, especially kind of like kind of how he reacts after everything's going on and how he's still reacting now. Although, and especially with decisions he has to make, like, it is fun to just kind of see him kind of struggle with things, at least at the part we're at now.
Yeah, he's a guy that's got to, like, he wants to do this, but he doesn't know how much, why there's so much that comes along with it. Like, but he ain't gonna be as easy as you think. Just cooking meth and selling it. Like, there's a lot of shit that goes along with it, so you're gonna be ready for it.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we can rank them, and then how many Wire? How many? What was the kill count Wire?
The Wire was 1.
One.
It was The Witness, and then this one has 1 as well. So Oz is definitely in the lead right now with 3 kills. The other shows having 1 apiece.
Yeah, Walt can boost those numbers coming up. I guarantee you. All right, so with the ranking, I want to go last just because I'm very selfish and I know how I am. So we already put episode 1 of Oz higher than episode 2.
Yeah.
I think Matt said that he liked episode 2 of The Wire more than episode 1.
Mhm.
Matt, Mark, or Mike, do you agree with that, or do you think episode 1 was better?
I think episode 1 was better for The Wire for me.
I 100% think episode 1 was better. Yeah.
Okay, I agree. So, now it's weird. So was episode 1 of The Wire better than any episodes of Oz?
I don't think it was. I think Oz holds the first episode higher. But see, I'm insane. So yeah.
I will say this. So this is my personal rankings of The Wire and Oz together, and you can judge me. I put Oz episode 1 number 1. I put Wire episode 1 at 2, and then basically Wire to Oz 2. How I see it. Basically, I have both ones leading towards Oz, but then I have Wire 2 better than Oz 2. That's where I'm at. But how does everybody else? Mark, where are you? Wire's top for you for both, right?
Yeah. I like it. Wire 1, 2, Oz 1 and 2. Yeah.
Okay. Matt, if you had to pick Wire episode. Okay, so
see, I thought how we were going to do it was we were going to be like, which one had the best episode 1, which show had the best episode 2. But how you're doing it is you're doing just every single episode we're going to be ranking.
Yeah, but I think that's going to be really rough.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
it might be easier to rank which one had the best first episode, which one had the best second episode.
Okay, we'll do that. So, I think Breaking Bad had the best episode for episode 1.
I agree with that.
I have it Breaking Bad, Oz, Wire.
I have it Oz, Breaking Bad, Wire.
I'm not.
And Mark's probably gonna have Wire, Breaking Bad.
I'm gonna have Wire.
All right,
so Cody and I both said Breaking Bad, so Breaking Bad wins episode 1.
Okay, Breaking Bad wins episode 1. Matt, Oz 1 or Wire 1?
Oz 1 or Wire 1? Which one had the better episode? I would probably say the first episode of Oz is probably better than the first episode of Wire.
Okay, so Mark's in the dungeon right now. So that's right. Mark wishes he wasn't on the show. Okay, so episode 2. Again, I'm glad we all have our
first
homework.
Since I know you guys are probably disagree.
I'm glad we all have our. I'm glad we all have our Homer shows on this because, like, so you think Wire 2, episode 2 was better than every second episode?
Yeah.
I think Breaking Bad episode 2 is the best on that one for me.
Yeah, I'm going Breaking Bad for the best second episode.
Mark.
This was it's honestly pretty close. Wire, Breaking Bad wise it is. I think I'm going to stick with the Wire on this one.
So that means we have a tie for episode 2.
Where's Nazario when we fucking need him?
We're on to a great job. We can ask him when he comes back, but we'll put for posterity. I'll put Wire 2 up there. So Oz is the end. Okay, so we're there right now. I think that's a great episode overall. I think on the shit pile list, if we had to pick up characters that we think, I think dipshit from The Wire. That motherfucker should be number 1 with a bullet. I think Skylar's also a piece of shit. That will be a trend for this entire thing. I don't like Skylar. He married the wrong woman.
Are we gonna hate Walter Jr. yet, or are we just kind of wherever?
Don't you hate Walter Jr.? He just wants breakfast. And he hasn't
if someone gives you turkey bacon, you're not going to like it.
Yeah, kid should be pissed off. His mom's a bitch and his dad's a meth addict. Like, come on.
I got to say, though, I forgot how much I loved Jesse in the first season. before.
Oh,
As the
Jesse's
show gets
great.
on and he starts dealing with a bunch of other stuff, he sees some shit and it gets rough. But in the first season, he's this fun-loving meth cook.
Like if,
What was he putting?
like if you
Tabasco
saw
sauce was his signature or
One-
something
one-
like that?
Chili powder.
Chili powder, yeah.
Chili powder.
chili powder, like specialty, you fucking idiot.
Has that ever been uttered? Oh, he's just this fun-loving meth cook.
Yeah.
Gotta be there somewhere, right? I think it's really interesting too if we did it like this. Is like Jesse would show up on an episode of Dr. Phil like 3 hours later, 3 years
my
later,
God.
and be like, "You want to talk about the shit you went? Yeah, I've seen some shit." But I think Schillinger.
He's got to be the most hated fucking character of the goddamn. The dude brands somebody on the ass with the fucking swastika, for Christ's sake.
I think the guy that pulls the trigger might annoy me more. He shouldn't be an officer. At least the other guy's in jail for the reasons that he's in jail for. His motives make sense. It's a weird, like, we're in the thing of, like, criminals, chosen criminals, like, already criminal, and then we're literally on one of person getting into the life of crime. We did a really good job, guys. Anybody to add to the hatred list? I think those three, Skylar, Schillinger, and Dipshit McGee, whatever his name is. What is his name?
Presbeluski.
Presbeluski, yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, Roland.
So we
His name is
have the
Prez?
most hated character for
Prez,
each show. So who's our favorite character from each show going so far?
I go for Oz, Ryan O'Reilly, for sure. So, like, the 2 episodes he did, he's already
Perfect
fucking
shit
with people.
stir.
Yeah.
Just fucking.
He's already fucking with everybody in the best way possible.
Yeah,
Breaking
Ryan
Bad,
on
Jesse,
Oz.
for sure.
Jesse. I like Walt. I'm just a big Walt guy. It's going to be hard for me to vote against him ever.
I'm gonna say
Even when
Jesse
he's
for
doing the
now,
most-
but Walt.
Yeah,
can make that
like
turn, too.
as of right
Yeah,
now,
Jesse's
yeah.
Jesse has at least a good. He's the good comedy relief.
Yeah.
Fucking idiot, but chili powder. And then Lieutenant Cedric is my guy for.
I'll agree with Cody there.
That's always solid.
For the-
I mean, Bunk is probably my favorite character in The Wire, one of my favorite characters. But Cedric is really good in these first couple episodes, so that's good.
What about you, Mark? Anybody?
I like Cedric. I like Cedric right now. I mean, probably still go with the chalk of McNulty. And even though he's already brought up as at least going off of Oz, honestly, I think my favorite, just because of like how awful he is and how great of a character, I have to go with Schillinger. Like, he's probably my favorite right now. Just like,
G'day,
how
man.
he's built up is just so
You take that to Beecher, you piece of shit. So that's our first episode. We did go long, but overall, I had a blast talking about it. So, like, I don't care really about runtime. People have to drop out; they have to drop out, but the conversation's going to go. I think Ed and Azario, I'm going to try for 3. I'm still going to try for 3, but we're probably going to speed up our conversation just a little bit, just so it's keeping under that hour, 2 hour mark.
The Oz started out almost an hour, so yeah, we'll tighten it up. We're gonna fine tune it as we go. So
yeah, we're gonna fine tune it. We're just really excited to talk about TV where we don't normally get to. So we've got a little long winded on certain things that we could have went through, and me trying to discover the Wire as it goes will be fun for all. So
for those watching along, we're gonna do 3 episodes next time of each show.
Yes, 3, and then we'll be back. And you'll be catching this not live. But you'll be pre-recorded. So when you guys watch,
but you get to watch all the episodes at once if you want. So fuck you.
Binge. We'll doing some like teasers or like saying what's coming and like giving some when we start dropping. But should be fun. So we'll catch you on the next one.
Yeah, Nazario hasn't come up with an ending yet because he's Nazario. So as of right now, we're going to use the beginning again.
Watch TV.
Yeah.
Pawns, man, in the game. They get capped quick. They be out the game early.
Unless they some smart-ass pawns.
This is not meth.